Hey, Walter Sorrells back with more tips for the knife maker. Today, part 2 of making a wooden toolbox. Hey guys, back with part 2 of my video about building Jake's toolbox. In the first video, we got started on the woodwork, and today we'll finish up the drawers, do the fittings, the finish, sanding it, all that kind of good stuff. Now it's time to turn to the drawers. I'll be using more good old Home Depot wood here. This is 3/8" poplar for the drawer bodies, and then more oak for the drawer fronts. The bottoms of the drawers will be thin plywood. I'll saw up all the drawer sides and then cut slots on the inside faces for the drawer bottoms. And additional slots on the outside to function as slides. Now some little dowel pins will be inserted just to make sure that those drawers don't move around and the glue joints don't break. Could I use nails? Of course, but this is more fun. Plus, you're a little less likely to cause wood to split. I'm using a lot of fairly thin pieces of wood, and you start nailing even little brads into it, and the likelihood of causing something to split starts to rise pretty quickly. I'll also make little runners for the drawers to slide on. These will be located inside the box. After measuring with infinite care and then gluing several of them in the wrong place, busting them off and remeasuring and re-gluing, I'll drill some holes and glue in a couple of 1/8" pins on each rail. I grew up in a house full of antique furniture, and what I learned from that is that no matter how strong the glue is today, after a few decades, it's probably going to fail. So you better have some backup to hold things together if you want them to last for a long time. I won't attach the faces of the drawers until after the box is finished. It's too easy to screw them up at this point and have them be out of line. So I'll go ahead and assemble everything now, including the bottom plywood for the top bin. Glue plus 3.7 million clamps. Very important to keep checking everything with squares so that it doesn't end up turning into some weird rhomboid. And eventually you get it all squared away. Now I'll put little plugs into all the gaps created by my table saw when making the drawer tracks and the little steps at the top and the bottom and so on. Once everything is cured, I'll use a combination of sawing, chiseling, and planing to clean up all the joints, pins, and plugs. Following that, I'll use the orbital sander to create enormous clouds of dust while incidentally smoothing everything out, removing tool marks, and getting rid of all the nasty looking glue residue. Now I'll head back to the table saw to saw the lid free from the body of the box. No matter how carefully you do this, it's not going to be even enough to make a really pretty clean seal with the rest of the box. So I used spray contact adhesive to attach a couple pieces of sandpaper to a nice flat surface, and then just scrubbed away until I had a dead flat surface on both the box and the lid. Basically, you just have to sand away for a while, upend the thing, stick them together, and see how they fit, and then keep working it until everything's right. After that, time to fit the drawers. Here I've stacked all three of the oak drawer fascia together, clamped them, and then I'll drill the holes for the pulls. Once those are all squared away, we'll go ahead and glue them onto the drawers. The way I did it to make sure everything stayed even was to stick popsicle sticks down there as spacers, and then I just repeated the same use of those popsicle sticks for each drawer. I'd made them a little bit oversized, so I just trimmed them down, and then ultimately they all fit fine. Then a little trimming on the next one. Again, using popsicle sticks to establish that distance from the drawer below so that it's visually nice and clean looking. And once again, once that's dry, we'll repeat that on drawer 3. It's finish time now, so I taped off the nameplate pocket and then coated everything else with a brush-on poly finish. Next, I used the only metal fasteners in the entire project to attach the hinges and the lid catch. I also turned some little pulls, and then those are attached to the drawer faces. Now it's time to mill the nameplate. Here I'm going to put Jake's name on it so he'll know that it's his forever. I used my Tormach CNC mill for this task. I know none of you at home have one of these suckers, but if you want to make a nameplate for a box for yourself, you can find plenty of places like trophy shops that can engrave brass plates for you. And then you can use a chisel or a router or whatever to make a little pocket and drop that plate into it. Then I used my belt grinder to very carefully trim the plate until it fit dead perfectly into the pocket on the top. Real easy to overshoot on this sort of thing and leave a big ugly gap, and I didn't want to do that, so I just really took my time on this. The last step was to epoxy in that nameplate. All that was left was to add the tools. Here I used Kaizen foam so that each tool had a neat place and the tools wouldn't rattle around all over. Unlike normal foam, Kaizen foam is made in layers so that you just cut around the tool with a knife, then pick out the stuff in the middle. And because of these little layers, it won't rip the foam to shreds as you're pulling it out. And there it is. So I gave the box to Jake on his 21st birthday, and here he is showing off just how much he loves having his picture taken. Right after this picture was taken, he threw the box in his truck and headed off to finish up his last year in college. I'm really proud of everything that he's accomplished, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what he's going to achieve moving forward. Great young man. And, you know, as far as this project goes, really, there are just few things in life that are more satisfying than just making stuff, fixing stuff, just working with your hands and putting something out into the world that works well. So I hope he gets many years of pleasure out of these tools. Now, a survey of the tools and the box, along with a few embarrassing pictures of the first 21 years of Jake's life. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon. Thanks for watching, guys. If you like what we're doing here, please subscribe and make sure that you click on that bell so you get notified of all the latest videos. Want to buy a knife from me? Check out my modern blades at tacticsarmory.com. Digging the channel? You can support our video making efforts on Patreon. You know, I've been banging away on these videos for like 10 years, so I hope you'll show some love for all that hard work. Link in the cards and descriptions. Finally, if you're interested in making Japanese swords, check out my full line of Japanese sword videos where I show how to forge Japanese swords as well as how to polish them and how to make fittings, handles, and scabbards. WalterSorrellsBlades.com.